All right, thanks for tuning into the special edition of Leading Forecast here. The update on Hurricane Irene, and here we go. Here's Hurricane Irene spinning out into off the East Coast. The 2 p.m. update bringing the position up to 31.2 north, 77.5 west. Maximum winds are at 100 miles per hour, gusting to 125. So we have lost a little bit of strength within Hurricane Irene. Movement is north at 13 miles per hour with a minimum pressure of 951 millibars. That's actually went up, I think, about 5 millibars from our last update, or 28.07 inches is what we are at right now. Actually, let's swing back to that. And here's, as you can see, there's that satellite image, and there's the big storm out there. Still a lot of banding going on here, and the storm moving directly north here and really going to hit Cape Hatteras very, very hard over the next 24 hours. Let's go on over. We do have the hurricane warnings in effect that go all the way. Basically, let me grab the papers here. We do have hurricane warnings in effect from Little River Inlet, South Carolina, which is right in here. And then we have them all the way up to Sandy Hook, New Jersey, which I believe starts right here. And so all this area here is under a hurricane warning. We do have the tropical storm warnings for the areas in blue, and then kind of the hurricane watch is in effect for Sandy Hook, New Jersey, up to the Merrimack River, which is right up in this area here, is the places that are still under the hurricane watches and will probably eventually be upgraded. Going on over, you can see the forecasted track here. Here's Irene, forecasted to make landfall in North Carolina as this Category 2 storm. We're going to be talking about very heavy rain, high winds, obviously very high winds. Storm surge is going to be a problem. And we are also watching the potential, as usual with these storms, for some tornadic spin-ups as these storms come ashore. In fact, let's go on over. This is Doppler radar right now. Here's the bands coming in over the North Carolina, South Carolina shore here, and some of these, in fact, we can actually see right here where we have this little rotation marker there as well as there, actually indicating rotation within the storm here. With this, looking at some of the reports here, we do have winds right along the coast here in South Carolina, reporting about 15 miles per hour. So we haven't seen the winds kick up, but here within the next 6 to 12 hours, we're going to see the winds really start to pick up, and conditions in the North Carolina area are really going to start to deteriorate very, very rapidly. Going on over, here's the track again. This brings it into North Carolina tomorrow morning, and then brings it back kind of out, and eventually making landfall again for a second time up towards New York early morning Sunday, probably more around 11 a.m. actually, depending on where it makes landfall. It could be anywhere from, say, 7 a.m. up towards noon, and then eventually working its way off through British Columbia and back out to sea. But still, we're going to be dealing with hurricane conditions all up and down the East Coast here until this thing finally goes over land and starts to weaken more. Going on over to the next slide here, Irene's risk to lives and property here, and the big risk right along the East Coast here. We've been talking about this for a while, up towards New York, down towards Rhode Island, eventually down towards Norfolk and Cape Hatteras. You are under the most extreme risk for the risk to lives as well as property. And then the high risk actually runs all the way from North Carolina up into Delaware, Maine, even New York, Pennsylvania. You're all under the risk for a high risk for some damage here. We're going to be talking about power outages, probably not going to have any running water. We could be talking about power outages to 65 million people by the end of the weekend. Going on over, talking about storm surge here. We're expecting storm surge right along the North Carolina coast, anywhere from about 6 to 9 feet. You get in some of these inlets right here, we could be talking about storm surge as much as 12 to 15 feet as that surge goes in some of those inlets and kind of spreads out. So if you're in those, you need to be very, very careful, evacuate away, because we're going to have, not only when we have the flooding rains, but with the storm surge, we're going to have a lot of water standing over some of these places. Irene severity here, we're talking about heavy rain and major flooding and very strong winds. And your strongest winds are going to be right here along the coast, and your flooding is going to be all in that red area there. So a lot of places, including New York, down towards Rhode Island, down towards Norfolk, eventually down towards Cape Hatteras and places like that, you're going to get in on a lot of flooding. So major things happening there. Going on over, they have now issued evacuations in Brooklyn, Queens, including all of the Rockaways, Staten Island, Battery Park City, the financial district of Lower Manhattan, and Governor's Island. Also, they've mentioned a half a dozen bridges will be closed once the wind hits 60 miles per hour in the New York area, including the George Washington Bridge, Robert F. Kennedy Triborough Bridge, I guess that's Throngs Neck Bridge, and the White Stone Bridge. So those are going to be areas that are going to be closed once this hurricane starts ramping up there, and they're already starting to issue evacuations there. So if you're being evacuated, especially along the beaches of Rhode Island, the Jersey Shore, all the way up towards or down towards Cape Hatteras, Norfolk, I very highly recommend that you go ahead and evacuate. If you live up to the Northeast, you still have some time. So anyways, very, very intense storm coming up. This is going to be a very potentially life-threatening situation over the next few days. So if you're in the Northeast, take precaution, do what you can, get everything in place here, put your hurricane preparedness kit together, get your bread, get your water, and be ready for the storm to make landfall and impact your area. We'll continue to do this. We're going to have live coverage of landfall probably tomorrow as well as Sunday. So that's all I have for the day. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Swift Lead Forecaster Joseph Cooper. Stay safe.